Hey, what's up everybody? It's Alex from ASC. Snap on Tuesday. I missed a day last week. Work has been absolutely crazy and I didn't get time to upload, so I really wanted to get one in for you today. So we've got some stuff, all sorts. Not a ranty video for a change, but we'll discuss. But anyway, first things first. So truck hit, window replaced. Flooring is yet to be fixed because I have little holes kind of all over here where the glass come through from the window and smashed on the floor. But the table, you probably remember it being green. Well, now it's red. Looks pretty cool. I had a guy come down from a company called Recovering Snooker and Pool Tables, something like that, Limited. Really nice dude from Manchester, proper geezer. He's dead funny. But he's redone my table for me, new cushions, red cloth, because I wanted a bit of a change in here because I got a lot of red stuff, so it kind of looked pretty cool. So that's done. So yeah, dead happy with that. He did a sterling job. What else? Some snap-on stuff which we'll discuss in a minute. I've had this thing in. It's a Land Rover 110. I think they call it the MY12. It's like a 2012 onwards edition. It's got some bits and bobs on it. It was done by a company called Kahn, the Chelsea Tractor Company, I think it is, or something like that. They're in London. Anyway, the wiring on it, when we got it, was well, the guy came to see me because he wanted a different stereo, so we had to put on a Pioneer radio onto the Clarion that was in there and failed, so we got rid of that. On from that, it had various issues with well, actually no, I didn't. So we were asked to put in a subwoofer, kicker underseat sub, HS8, and a Pioneer stereo, reversing camera, and a shark fin roof aerial with DAB and GPS. So you can see all the stuff there. You can just about make out the little roof aerial on the top. Anyway, what transpired? A long ass day's work. So I started it at 9 o'clock. We finished at 6. Phoned the guy up, told him to come back in, and all of a sudden everything in the vehicle suddenly stopped working. Obviously my fault. So I did have dinner arranged with some friends. That got cancelled. Really pissed off about that. And ended up staying till 2:30 in the morning trying to diagnose the faults with this Land Rover. What basically transpired is the customer said to me that there was no faults with the vehicle when he brought it in. So fitting a head unit, it suddenly took out the driver's side window, electric, passenger side window, electric, rear wash wipe, rear wiper, rear washer spray, headlights, all the switches inside, dash illumination, binnacle, powerless, nothing there at all. Vehicle dead. So the vehicle started and drove, but obviously there was no lights or any of the other functions. So I basically turned around to him and said, look, you know, we don't get issues like this from fitting a stereo. There's so many different circuits that are affected in one thing. It wouldn't be the radio that's causing it. There's obviously an issue with the car. So he swore blind that everything was working when he brought the vehicle into me. I disagreed. I say 2:30 in the morning, we basically finished off with the vehicle. I ended up checking the CCTV and the vehicle actually came in without headlights on at all. So there was still the same fault when he brought it in. He swore that it was me. I told him it wasn't my responsibility. It kicked off. Sent me a few emails, you know, threatening legal action and stuff like that, which I said, you know, fine, you know, I've got more than comprehensive insurance. I'm not in the position of pissing people off. If I do something wrong, I'd own up to it. We'd fix it. It's not a problem. But there were so many issues with the car, you know, with stuff going wrong with it that I really didn't think it was my fault at all. So I wasn't having that. Anyway, he took it to somebody else. They replaced the fuse, said that everything's working again. We checked the fuse box on the night of the incident, and basically one half of the fuse box was completely shut down, so there was no power there. But anyway, this other company checked it. They said it was a fuse, they replaced the fuse, everything works again. So I've had the vehicle back in as a matter of courtesy, because A, I want to clear my name and prove to him that the issue was not mine in the first place, which we've now found, not mine. But for want of a a better reason, he jumped straight on Google and was, you know, this guy's done this to my car, he's ruined this, he's ruined that. And it's not, you're never going to please everyone. You know, there's always going to be a problem, but the fly's getting zapped. You're always going to have one customer that no matter how far you go, they're never going to be happy. So I was quite upset by that. I say upset, bothered by it more than anything, because my reputation is me. You know, it's my company, it's my work. You know, I don't like being told that I've done a bad job when I know I didn't. So anyway, so we got the car back in. We've gone through it, head to toe. Everything's been out, checked and checked and checked again, and it's basically come down to there's a circuit from a fuse box underneath the dash, which is fuse F4, in case anyone ever gets this. But I've got the problem, so somebody else is going to have the problem with the Land Rover too. Fuse F4, it supplies a 5-volt circuit. Now, because this vehicle is quite agricultural, there's not really, you know, many things inside it as far as control modules and ECUs. Yeah, it's got some, but not like a normal car. This 5-volt circuit controls the ignition feed. It's a white wire with a green tracer, and it supplies all of the bits that didn't work with an ignition feed for them to turn on the relay and actually operate. So there's a short on, God, I've got to remember this now. I'm sure they call it K109, something like that. But it's basically a spur off of 7 connections that supply ignition feed to all these relays, and that's why everything suddenly stopped working, was because there's a vehicle short, not because of anything we'd done. I've still got the vehicle in. Obviously, we're coming to the end of close with it. I'm happy that it wasn't my problem. We're going to find the short for the guy, and hopefully he'll change his review on Google that he's written about my company. He should do, because now the problem is, you know, proven not to be us, but, you know, he's entitled to his opinion. So it is what it is. But anyway, so yeah, Land Rover 110. We've put in little kicker under seat sub, HS8. It's got Pioneer's 910 DAB navigation, DAB AirPlay, Bluetooth, all the stuff. Ordered Johnny's. It's a nice head unit. I've got the same one in my car. Excuse me, got the same one in my car, and I like the thing, so we're going with that. Obviously, I'll show you the reverse camera. Sorry, spinning you around too quickly. Reverse camera at the top there, and the shark fin DAB FM roof aerial there. Now, we couldn't put it in the back because it has these little ridges on the top. So obviously the water seal would have broken. Chances are you'll probably end up with a water leak, and these things are bad enough for that anyway. So we went within the centre at the front, on the front of this panel. It was just the more proper place to get a tight water seal so the aerial could do its thing without leaking water into the headliner. But that's another story. But yeah, so on the road to recovery, the road to proof on that one, I'm just going to pop you down here so you can see me. Oh, there we go. We there? We're there. Right. Snap-on stuff. First off, brake bleeding tool. If anyone has ever bled brakes on their own, you'll know what a pain in the ass it is to do properly, within pumping the pedal up, releasing the pressure, letting the air out, tightening the nipple back up, topping the fluid up, pumping again, holding pressure, so on and so forth. When you're on your own, it's a nightmare. So I wanted one of these. This is a vacuum bleeder, it's not a pressure bleeder. So works on a similar sort of principle. So you connecting an air line into here. Obviously, as you press the trigger, you create a vacuum, and it will draw fluid into this section here, on the top of here. So I've used pressure bleeders before, where you're adding fluid and pressure into the reservoir, and what tends to happen is, if you've got like the plastic old school kind of reservoir, you can go above the pressure limit, reservoir explodes, brake fluid is corrosive, it goes all over the engine and the paint. You've got an issue then, because it's starting to lift the paint off the customer's car, so I don't like those. So this is a vacuum bleeder. Obviously it connects to the nipple end. It will create a vacuum, and it will draw either the air or the fluid through, and then you just got to top up the reservoir. So really nice bit of kit without risking a big pop and seeing nice customer's car with brake fluid all over it, especially when it's used. You don't want to do that. Next thing I bought, it's Blue Point, but kind of snap-on fashion.
So these are, it's like a little hex key set, like the Allen keys. The difference between these, I've got the T keys, I've got the drivers, but these ones are kind of cool because they're adjustable. So you can actually, you see the locating little dowel like Allen key there. So you can actually move the heads round. So if you can't, I've been in places before where you're trying to undo something and the end of the Allen key's either shorting something out or touching something, or you can't quite get it round. You can actually mess with the head. So you can actually find the right angle that you want to get at. Simple little tools that will save, you know, as they say with special tools, you know, you get one tool that, yeah, you can do the job in, you know, an hour, but if you've got the right tool, it'll take the time down. So these are pretty cool. So wanted those for a good thing, a good reason, should I say. And let's do the sockets first. So I had, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough, so I try not to sound like an ill person. But anyway, so I had these short sockets already. They're adjustable ends, wobbly ends, 3/8 drive, and they've got the socket attachment in the end. The joy thing about these is that they are actually, watch me fly them all over the garage, their heads are actually quite shallow. Where's the camera on my phone? There he is. So can you see the head there? It's actually quite shallow. So the socket adjustable, obviously with the 3/8 end, but the socket's actually quite shallow, so you can get it in some really good places. But the issue comes is when you've got something to undo and you don't have the depth, or rather you've got like a bolt or you know, like a threaded bar sticking up and you've got to get down to the nut. They're not any good because you just got to bottom out the adjustment before you get to the nut or the bolt. So I've got some extension ones. So these are slightly longer heads, so they give me, what's that, probably an inch, maybe a bit more. A little adjuster, still the same 3/8, but obviously this is a bit deeper, so I can go further down a bolt or a nut or a rod or a thread just to undo it. So something else snap-on orientated, pretty cool. I'm running out of space, new box coming. Oh, nearly lost the finger basher. Right, last thing is this quite funky mat. I'll keep it still so you can see all the indentation on it. But it's got like all this textured stuff here. It's like just a rubber working mat. Obviously for the top of the toolbox. But it's got little pockets. So I can have it on my snap-on table, on my box, when I've cleaned up the crap. Somewhere nice that you're not going to scratch things on or take things apart, but it gives you these little holders that you can place little screws in it, you know, so you don't mess up stuff when you're taking apart stereos or fitting cages and stuff like that. So it's you know, going to protect the toolbox from scratches and stuff like that. When I do radios, I do have like a bit of a fibre mat that I put the LCDs on. This obviously is soft enough that it won't scratch. But again, being a stainless steel worktop, I do get, I don't know whether you can see that, you see the scratching on it? Just from stuff moving around. It's a used toolbox. I know I'm a bit of a, what would you say, tart for my snap-on stuff. Yeah, you know, I don't want to trash my toolbox, but at the same time it is used. So these little scratches are acceptable, but if I've got a mat to work on, it's pretty cool as well. Also another thing, I don't know whether I mentioned this before, but I bought a carbide knife sharpener in the shape of an S. So a little knife sharpener, it's got the tooth in the end, little V angle to sharpen tools, which is also, you know, great because I'm always cutting stuff, tape, trims, whatever. What else are we talking about today? I think that's about it. I've got some Toyota stuff for the car. I'm going to do the valve stem oil seals on the Chaser over winter. I might get the subframes off and get them sent away and powder coated as well, and I might polybush the frames, get a bit more control out of them. It's, you know, it is an older car. There's nothing. It's low mileage for what it is. It's only on like 60k, but you know, bit of prevention rather than cure, to keep everything nice and you know, clean and good. But God, look at the mess. Tools and crap on the floor. I need to tidy up.
What else? Oh, Lotus stuff. So finally, did I ever explain to you what happened with the Lotus? I can't remember. Short story, I paid a company to do some cylinder head work. They ballsed it up proper, swarf inside the cylinder heads, bolted on the engine, wrote the engine off. Well, wrote the engine off, did a lot of damage. Took them to court, they settled before court, paid out, so done and dusted. Now I can get on with fixing the beast. Anyway, spoke to the lovely guys at JAE. There's a side story there, so I'm smiling. But great fellas in California, Lotus specialists. If you're in the States and you need Lotus parts, do see them because they are fantastic. I've got a buddy of mine who's currently in America doing some business meetings, and he's going to be coming back on, I think, the 18th. But we sorted out a big parts list, paid for it. He sent the parts, or JE sent the parts to my friend's girlfriend, who lives in Los Angeles, I think. The parts have gone to Connor, bless him, God love him, and he's going to bring them back with extra luggage. Toothbrush, toothpaste, boxes, and a shed load of Lotus V8 parts. So they are coming in on the 18th, I think, so I cannot wait. I'll stop spinning round, I'm just getting excited about the car. But this little puppy, I'm going to finally get it fixed and driving again after like 4.5, 5 years. It's earned its money while it's sat stationary, which is cool. You know, it's now worth a lot more than I paid for it, but I miss it. I do miss it. It is such a beast. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to get it back. So, waffle. So that's about it for today. Excuse me. Work's busy. We're dealing with customers like the Land Rover, finally sorting it out. Tool stuff. What else to say? It's pretty much it. Snap on Tuesday's done. If you want me to talk about anything or discuss anything or show you anything, comment below in true Hoonigan fashion. But I think that's about it. So I will see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.